Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Stingray from the Manifesting Lab. I have a question for you. Where's your stuff? Yeah, where's that stuff that you joined the Manifesting Lab for? The stuff that you wanted to learn to deliberately manifest. Where is it? Well, maybe you have it already. Maybe you are living that lifestyle, the one you wanted when you joined. And there's no reason you shouldn't be. The principles in the Manifesting Lab work, and you'll never find anything, ever, that contradicts them. Because it's the truth. And the truth stands up to scrutiny, no matter what direction you look at it from. So if you are living that lifestyle already, if you are getting the things you want, why are you watching this video? Go do something else. Get on that boat and sail over to your own personal island. But if you are continuing to watch this video, I suspect there may be a reason for that, and that's you haven't got your stuff. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Because if I'm saying that the principles always work, why haven't you got your stuff? The law of attraction is a lot like the law of gravity. Because the law of gravity is always consistent. It doesn't matter whether you consciously apply it or not. It's always going to give you a result. And it's the same with the law of attraction. You always get a result. But whether that result is what you want or something you don't want, well, that bit is up to you. Because of the consistency of the law of attraction, if you're not getting a result that you want, there must be something else going on. And so what happens is, people who don't get the results they want, they start to think there's something wrong with the law of attraction. And that's kind of amazing to me, because many people don't treat manifesting, deliberate manifesting, with the same degree of seriousness and systematicness that they would with other things in their lives. For example, you wouldn't expect to learn to play a musical instrument straight away. You would expect months, years of effort in order to become really good at one particular instrument. And yet, manifesting, law of attraction, those rules don't seem to apply. Or at least they don't seem to apply in the minds of many people. In fact, I've noticed over the years that many people will spend more time watching some cute cat video on YouTube instead of doing the vibrational work that actually brings the results that they seek. And that's kind of odd, because the law of attraction affects every moment of every single day that you are alive. And cute cat videos only affect the other 99%. So is it really your fault? I know I'm having a go at you and pointing the finger at you and saying, maybe you're not taking this seriously. But is it really your fault? Yes, of course it's your fault. To an extent. To an extent. The thing about all this manifesting stuff is it is really simple to understand. At its very basic essence, the law of attraction basically says you get what you think about, whether you like it or not. And so the simplicity of it is kind of misleading to people. when something seems simple, we equate simple with easy. And so I find people joining the manifesting lab thinking this is really simple, but then discovering to their horror that it's simple is not necessarily easy. This stuff that we play with, the idea of controlling our realities with our minds, with our thoughts, it's really the toughest stuff that exists, because it gets to the absolute essence of who we are as people. There's no escape. There's no hiding place from yourself. And this manifesting stuff is about coming face to face with who you are. So yes, it is your fault. But on the other hand, it can take a little while to learn this stuff, because despite the fact it's simple, it's very tricky to apply sometimes. But if you are consistent in your application of these ideas, if you're willing to keep going with them no matter what, you will get results. And results that you want, because the law of attraction is consistent. Consistency is really the key to this. If you think about the Grand Canyon, that amazing wonder of the world, and think about how it formed. This that we see at the top of the screen here is actually ground level. And these huge, incredible drops, and you'll know how incredible they are if you've ever been to the Grand Canyon. They were carved over 5 to 6 million years. And they were carved by this relatively small river, weaving its way down that path consistently for millions of years. That's what consistency can do for you. So, in the manifesting lab, when I rant and rave and say, why don't you meditate? Why don't you spend 15 minutes in the morning soothing those thoughts, getting them under control? Then I'm asking you to be consistent. And if you were consistent, then that kind of consistency would create more than the Grand Canyon, because the energies you are playing with this kind of consistency of vibration are actually more powerful than the energies that chip away at rock and erode rock over a few million years to create the Grand Canyon. So really the trick with manifesting is to be consistent. And it's relatively easy to learn the principles, as I said. Well, the simple principles. But then being consistent along with them is where the challenge comes. And so the approach I tend to like in the manifesting lab is that of the challenge. It's kind of forcing a consistency with a particular reason behind it. And it works like this. The principle is that if you are consistent with your vibrational work, your limiting beliefs must fight back before a habit is formed. Otherwise, they are gone. Why is that? It's because we are creatures of habit. When we have a habit, it is so powerful that literally nothing can stand in its way. If you have limiting beliefs that are preventing you manifesting what you want, if you have limiting beliefs that convince you to give up with your vibrational work, but you carry on going to the point of setting up a habit, which is basically 30 days, then those beliefs are gone. Because the power of a habit is too overwhelming. And so when you join the Manifesting Lab, what happens is I tell you to do this thing called the 30-Day Vortex Challenge, which at its simplest level is feel good a little bit for 30 days in a row. And because feeling good is a habit, it must be the case that if you can do that 30 days in a row and you are genuine with it, you have set up such a powerful habit that those limiting beliefs that were holding you back, they have only two choices: leave or fight back. Now, if they leave, that's great. But sometimes they fight back. But what happens if, despite the fact that they fought back, you carried on going? Let's say you didn't just do the challenge for 30 days, but you did 3 challenges, 90 days. And you just kept on going relentlessly, no matter what. Even if those limiting beliefs fought back, you would carry on going. 90 days. Can you imagine the transformation that would bring into your life? It would be pretty spectacular. But unfortunately, it doesn't quite work like that. Let's say you have a challenge for some reason to eat a banana every day. Well, you might be on the first few days and think, this is going really well. I'm really enjoying these bananas. I can eat bananas every day for the rest of my life and it wouldn't be a problem. And then mysteriously, your limiting belief about bananas comes up on day 7 and you just about manage day 7, but day 8, everything falls to bits. That limiting belief about banana eating stepped in the way before you had the chance to build up that habit. Because if you could go to 30 days and build up that habit, as I said, the limiting beliefs would be gone. And you literally would go completely bananas with your life. So, am I saying then that you've kind of got to bully yourself through these challenges that come up, these limiting beliefs, and just keep going relentlessly? Is that what I'm saying? Yeah, that is actually what I'm saying. But I'm going to suggest something slightly different to you today, because I'm going to suggest something I've never suggested before. And there's a reason for that, as you will discover as you carry on listening to this video. Here we have a diagram that I produced for the 30-Day Vortex Challenge. And it comes from the the Manifesting Lab course called The Secret to Feeling Good Effortlessly. If you want, you can watch that video again if you have forgotten what it's about, but let me explain it briefly. What I was suggesting in that video was that when you set up a habit, it's a bit like having a rocket, and you want to blast that rocket into space. So there is this period of time where the rocket takes off, goes through the clouds, through the atmosphere, and then eventually breaks free of the Earth's gravity and it's heading off to wherever it's going, maybe this strange planet over here. So you're starting from effectively not having a habit to having a habit for life. And there's a few stages involved in this. In this diagram, I've broken them down into 3 stages. There's the initial takeoff of the habit, or the rocket, you could say, to break free of the Earth's gravity. And you could say this lasts about 10 to 14 days. And most of the rocket's fuel is used up during this period. It is by far, the most difficult period in which to set up a habit. If you fail during this period, there's so much pull back to where you were that basically you could say the rocket kind of just plummets to the ground, because it hasn't really got very far off the ground. Now, during the next period, and the period following that, the pull of gravity has decreased so much that you could almost say you have a high probability of success. There's still a chance that you maybe get to there and crash back to the ground, but it's a significantly better chance than up to about here. Now, obviously, I'm using a metaphor about rockets. I'm not suggesting you blast yourself into space, unless you really want to. But this metaphor about rockets and about this first period of 10 to 14 days, or rather 0 to 14 days, I should say, this gives us an interesting strategy about setting up habits. We can almost set up things called accelerated habits. Because most of those blocks will show themselves, those limiting beliefs will show themselves before 15 days when we're trying to set up a new habit. If we have an approach that supports us and lets us push the limits, we can basically step up habit creation to every 15 days instead of every 30 days. Now, what do I mean by support? I mean that if you've started eating that banana and you've managed to struggle all the way to 15 days, you've basically done most of the hard work. Now, all it requires for you then is to carry on going, and then if anything does start to pull you back, it's going to be relatively easy to sort it out compared to trying to fix it between 0 and 14 days. But there is still that possibility that you may fall back. And so there is, if you're going to use this kind of accelerated approach, a little bit of support might be required. If you do like the idea of 15-day accelerated habits, then it does shorten the time to your destination quite a bit. Because let me suggest something to you, something interesting. Let's say that you do a 15-day habit. And I'm going to suggest that this is, let's say, 3 months, 90 days, 12 weeks. So you do 15 days, and you do another 15 days, and you do another 15 days, and you do another and another, up to 12 weeks. And let's say that you fall back just as you're over there. Because you've built habit upon habit upon habit, when you fall back, you're actually not going to fall that far. Because you'll be so far from your beginning point, and you will have acclimated at each point, that you're basically on the verge of an entire life transformation. These accelerated habits keep shifting you to more and more empowering levels as fast as you can handle it. So it kind of sounds like this would be an interesting way to change your life significantly in a relatively short period of time. You don't have to do 15-day habits. You could do 30-day habits. And yeah, you could, again, you could transform your life. It would be a little less transforming because each one of these 30-day steps is not taking you as far away from the beginning as the 15-day ones. So you could say that each one of these steps here is actually then 30 days. And then when you fall back, yes, you're falling back, but you're falling back quite a big chunk compared to where you've got up. I hope this analogy is kind of a little bit clear. As you keep increasing the level quicker, falling back is not as significant. So there is this saying that if you shoot for the stars, you might reach the moon. That's kind of what I'm hinting at. If you shoot for the top of the tree in your garden, then reaching the moon's probably going to be out of reach. But if you set your sights a lot higher, and even if you stumble, you're going to go a lot further. That's the point.